What do TikTok dances, morning routines, and thirst traps have to do with a 19th century philosopher who said God is dead? What would Nietzsche think if he opened TikTok? Would he laugh, cry, scroll, or just stare at the abyss? And the abyss does a lip sync back. Friedrich Nietzsche saw a future where traditional meaning collapsed. He saw a society drifting without gods, without moral anchors. And he asked one haunting question: what replaces it? Now, fast forward to today. You open TikTok. The algorithm gives you what you didn't know you wanted. You're amused, distracted, validated. You laugh, you scroll, you forget. Then you do it again. Nietzsche warned us about nihilism, a world where meaning is hollow, where values are borrowed, where people follow the herd. TikTok might be the loudest herd ever created. It's not just entertainment. It's ideology with a soundtrack, a place where people curate personalities like outfits, where identity is constantly performed, but rarely formed. Nietzsche believed in the Übermensch, the overman, not a superhero, not an influencer, but someone who doesn't follow the crowd, someone who creates their own values, someone who becomes who they are, without apology. So is the modern TikTok influencer the Übermensch, or the opposite? Nietzsche hated conformity. He saw it as a kind of spiritual laziness, the comfort of being told what to believe, what to do, what to want. On TikTok, trends spread like wildfire. One person dances, a million follow. One person shares a hot take, it becomes a template. Even rebellion becomes a trend. It's not just herd behavior. It's herd behavior in 4K, packaged, branded, monetized. Nietzsche would have seen it coming. He saw that once old values died, people would cling to distraction, entertainment, pleasure, anything but the terrifying work of creating meaning for themselves. You might not go to church, but you do go to the For You page. The algorithm doesn't want you to think deeply. It wants you to stay, to scroll, to repeat. But Nietzsche had a test, a thought experiment designed to break the loop. It's called the eternal return. Imagine this: every moment you live, you must live again. Exactly the same. Forever. Every scroll, every second, every empty glance at the screen. Would you choose this loop, knowing it never ends? Would you keep living like this, if you had to relive it? What if that late-night scroll was your eternity? The eternal return forces a question most people avoid. Are you living deliberately, or are you just reacting? And here's the uncomfortable part. Reaction feels productive. It feels fast. It feels connected. But it often isn't. You wake up, reach for your phone. 10 minutes here, 15 there. It doesn't feel like much, until you realize you've built a life out of borrowed time. Would you be proud to live that life on repeat? Because Nietzsche isn't judging you. He's daring you to look at your own patterns, to ask yourself who's really in control. Because this brings us to something even darker than boredom: false gods. Nietzsche said, God is dead and we have killed him. Not with weapons, but with forgetfulness, with apathy, with noise. But maybe we didn't kill God. Maybe we just replaced him with something quieter, faster, more addictive: the algorithm. It's invisible. It never rests. It rewards obedience. It gives you what you think you want, just enough to keep you numb. It's not watching you. It's training you. Nietzsche would have called it a new god, a digital deity, not made of fire or thunder, but code, dopamine, and endless choice. He wrote about two kinds of morality: master morality and slave morality. Masters create values. Slaves inherit them. But what does that really mean? Master morality is rooted in self-definition. A person looks inward, asks what's good for their growth, their strength, their flourishing, and they name it good. They don't wait for permission. They don't need consensus. They create values like an artist creates a painting, deliberately, imperfectly, honestly. Slave morality is the opposite. It's reactive. It says, that person is powerful, so they must be evil. It defines itself against others, not for itself. It's built on resentment, what Nietzsche called ressentiment, a slow, bitter energy that grows when you feel powerless, but refuse to admit it. Now look at TikTok again. How much of the content is people reacting to others? Mocking, cancelling, copying, calling out. A million videos, but so few actual visions. It's easier to tear down than build, easier to echo outrage than express truth. But Nietzsche would ask, are you creating values or just curating opinions? Are you living by your own instincts or performing someone else's morality? Masters say, this is good because I say so. Slaves say, this is good because others like it. So, on TikTok, who are you? Are you deciding what matters to you, or are you letting the masses decide? And what happens when even your rebellion is just another filter? There's a strange kind of conformity hiding in today's self-expression. Everyone is authentic, but somehow, everyone is doing it the same way. Nietzsche didn't want you to find yourself. He wanted you to become yourself, to build who you are like a sculpture, to carve it out of resistance, solitude, experience. Even if no one claps, especially if no one claps. But there's another twist. Nietzsche wasn't against beauty. He wasn't a stoic or a monk. He loved art. He loved drama. He even said, we have art so that we are not destroyed by the truth. He believed in style, but he wanted it to mean something. He said, style ought to prove that one believes in an idea. TikTok is full of style, but how much of it is just empty form? How much of it proves someone believes in what they're doing? Somewhere, buried in all the noise, are real creators. People who aren't just chasing trends. They're building something, slowly, deliberately, against the grain. That's Nietzschean, not the content, but the intent behind it. The courage to do it your way, even if it never gets picked up by the algorithm, even if no one claps. That's the overman. Not a god, not a savior. Just someone who dares to say yes to life on their own terms. Not just once, but always. Because life isn't a highlight reel. It's a cycle, a return. So now ask, if your life was on a loop, like your feed, would it be worth living? Would you want to repeat today? Would you follow yourself? And what happens if you don't choose? What happens if you let the world choose for you? Because Nietzsche warned, if you don't become the master of your own life, something else will. That's not philosophy, that's reality. So don't delete TikTok. Master it, use it. Don't serve it. Make something, say something, stand for something, even if no one likes it. If you had to live this version of yourself forever, would that feel like a blessing or a nightmare? Nietzsche didn't offer comfort. He offered fire. He believed greatness wasn't found in applause. It was forged in solitude, in silence, in reflection, in doing the work no one sees. The question isn't, what would Nietzsche say about TikTok? The real question is, what would he say about you? Would he call you the Übermensch, or another face in the herd? So next time you open the app, pause, listen, ask, is this who I want to be, again and again and again? Because the abyss is still watching, and it wants to know, will you scroll, or will you become?